The COVID passport seems like it's going to be a real thing. This is already being instituted in Israel. Israel has this already right now. So, you have this passport. You can go to things like gyms, movies, restaurants. And it's funny because it's like the VIP section only. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, this is your way to get into said place. And yeah, so they're thinking about introducing it. Some people are for it, some people are not for it. I'm for it. I'm with it. I think it makes sense. What do you think?
I am 100% against this. We are on complete opposite side of the fences when we talk about this every time. And while this is not kind of saying you have to get the vaccine, it is low key saying you have to get the vaccine.
You are 100% correct. 100%. I totally agree. Anyone who does not want to get vaccinated has the right to not get vaccinated. But that just means your ass can't go to the gym. That just means your ass can't sit next to me in a restaurant. That just means when they put out that new Marvel movie that you've been dying to see, you're going to have to watch it at home. I get to watch it big screen while I eat and enjoy my popcorn.
I think you're playing into the little fallacy that they're putting forth, because you got to tell me how I have the right, or if I'm enabled or the freedom to do something when doing that action will result in negative consequences. How is that a right or a freedom?
If you're cold and you're walking around outside drenched, it's raining, you have the right to go into a hotel to get warm. Right? Like, it's a business. You have the right to go in and get warm.
But the hotel also, that's private property. Before you continue, that's private property, so the hotel also has the right to kick you the hell out.
Exactly. And what is a business? What is a business? Do you own the gym? Do you own the movie theater? Do you own the restaurant? No, you don't. That is private property. It's owned by that business. So if that business says, hey, you can't come in here for the safety of me, because I have to go home to my family, forget the other patrons, I have to go, the owner, I have to go home to my family, and I want to make sure my family's safe because of what I believe in, because that's my right. I have the right to say you can't come in.
It's not the business that's putting forth that rule. It's the government that's making it so the businesses have to do it. That's what I'm trying to show you. The businesses, no business wants to do that. They don't want to do that and limit their customers.
So hold on for a second, Dre. You're 100% right. And by the way, if this was like 2020, what I just said, especially speaking to a restaurant, they'd be like, Chris, shut the F up forever.
Honestly, if I had a restaurant and it was not a requirement, let's put the situation for where it's not a requirement that people have to show some kind of proof that they've been vaccinated or anything like that, I would not instill that rule myself.
Is if your restaurant was on this side of the street and then my restaurant was on this side of the street, right? And let's just say that, 70% of the population was vaccinated. And you said anyone can come in. You got your COVID-19, bring it. We love it. And mine said, show me the proof that you have been vaccinated. And 70% has been vaccinated. Show me proof or you can't come in. Bring your COVID and all. Where do you think people are going to go? They want to go where it's safe, bruh.
See, you're living in a world where everybody who doesn't get vaccinated has COVID. That's the world that you're living in. So that's the thing. I want you to know that even those who have been vaccinated right now can still get COVID.
Of course they can.
Can still pass COVID along.
Of course they can.
It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it, because there's variants. So you got to tell me what the difference between a vaccine and not vaccine, because me not having the vaccine, there's people who have been vaccinated who can still catch COVID, who can still pass COVID along.
Dre,
it decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it.
Dre, getting the vaccination, just to be clear, you're not making a point that I'm unaware of. Getting a vaccination doesn't mean you cannot get COVID.
Okay,
doesn't mean you can't pass it. It means it can't kill you.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Because what you're saying is those who don't get the COVID shot have COVID. You're just automatically assuming they could have COVID because I have a COVID restaurant because I don't want to instill that rule, and you have that rule, so you're safer. That's the world that you're creating. That's the world that you're living in right now. And I'm saying I'm saying that in your restaurant, based on the stuff that I got now, it's less likely. Of course, I want to make that clear. It's less likely. But in your restaurant where you have that same rule, people can still catch COVID. It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it. It's still possible to catch COVID in your restaurant.
Do you know what the COVID vaccine does?
It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it. Let me finish. Because there's also variants that we also know about. They're all talking about it in the news right now, that there's variants that this vaccine may not be effective against. So we might not be, there might be a pandemic in a pandemic right now. Who knows what's going on? It's an everlasting thing. The point that I'm trying to make, regardless of this, it decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it, is that it should be the business's decision.
Yeah.
And it's not the business's decision. It's the government making the decisions. And the government has been making decisions for small businesses over the last year about when they can open and when they can't open. You don't want it? That's cool. That's your right. Blink, blink. But with that right that you should have, which should come with no consequence, there's consequences. So that's it. That's all I'm saying. It should be the business's decision.
That's 100% how it goes. You have rights. You do have rights. But there's certain things that you can do. But there's certain things that you can do to forfeit those rights. Like you have the right for freedom of speech. You can't just say whatever you want though and incite violence. You have the right to
Agreed.
Right. So there's certain things that you can do that will forfeit those rights. Clearly, I'm not making it clear enough for Dre. Is at the end of the day, your rights doesn't mean that I don't have any rights. And you keep on saying it has to do with the government. They're the ones who are forcing it. But how do you know that a restaurateur, the owner of the gym, the owner of the movie theater, whatever, how do you know that those people are not in agreement with those practices? I don't want to open my door to people who can't prove that they haven't been vaccinated. How do you know that?
Because in my world, it doesn't make a difference. In my world, it doesn't make a difference. That's the difference between my world and your world. In your world, if you don't have the vaccine, you're walking around spreading COVID to every single person. So that's the difference between our worlds.
Okay. Again, putting more words in my mouth, but I will definitely leave it to the listeners' brain to decipher and filter the nonsense.
Nobody's listening to your code that you're speaking in right now, where you're right and I'm wrong. Nobody's listening to that. We're taking sides on this one.
I guess I have to do it again with the magical editing.
It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it.
Do you know what the benefits of the COVID-19 vaccine is? Sorry, Dre. Do you know what the benefits of the COVID-19 vaccine is?
Sure.
What is the benefits? Seriously, what are the benefits?
You're less prone to stuff. I don't really know. I don't really care.
Okay, so I just want to put that on the record as to, the guy saying that, the COVID-19 vaccine, like, it doesn't really matter if you have it. He does.
It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it. Obviously, it does what every
it doesn't decrease the chances of transmitting it or catching it. You just mentioned a moment ago several times that you can still get it and you can still pass it on.
Yeah, decreases the chances doesn't mean impossible. So
no, because it doesn't do any of those things. The whole point of the coronavirus vaccine is because if you've been vaccinated, you can still get it, you can still pass it on, but what it does is it basically reduces the impacts to you specifically. So where if you get the coronavirus and you weren't vaccinated, your likelihood of perishing would be reduced.
Serious would be greater. Okay.
If you get vaccinated, right? So this is what I'm saying. So. Again,
fantastic.
All in the magic of editing.
It decreases your chances of transmitting it and catching it.
You'll see it when you see the video.
Thanks for that. Hopefully you leave that part in. That's super important.
Well, viewing public, what are your thoughts here, man? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Two guys doing a podcast. Deuces. Thank you guys so much for watching that video. Don't forget to like and comment. We finally hit our goal of 100 subscribers.
No, we're not done yet, though, Chris, man. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers,
yes.
Okay? So check out these videos over here, and make sure you press this button, man. Thank you for the 100. Let's get to 2.
Doses.